The Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire, began as the eastern half of the ancient Roman Empire. When Rome fell in the mid-400s, the Eastern Empire, centered in Constantinople, continued for nearly 1,000 more years. Its citizens still considered themselves Romans and viewed Constantinople as both the world's capital and the spiritual heart of Christianity. In the early 500s, the empire entered a golden era under the Justinian dynasty, founded by Justinian I's uncle, Emperor Justin I, in 518. But it was Justinian, who became emperor in 527, who had grand visions of reviving Rome's former glory. His dream of Renovatio Imperii, restoring the Roman Empire, led to a series of ambitious military campaigns and cultural achievements. The conquests of Belisarius. Justinian's top general, Belisarius, began the reconquest of the western provinces. His first target, the Vandal kingdom in North Africa. Despite being outnumbered, Belisarius defeated the complacent Vandals in 534. Next came Italy, where the Ostrogoths had taken control. In 535, Belisarius landed in Sicily and advanced toward Rome. Rome welcomed him, but soon the Ostrogoths, under King Vitiges, besieged the city with one of the largest armies in history. The siege lasted over a year, but failed. Belisarius eventually marched into Ravenna, the Ostrogoth capital, deposing Vitiges. However, the conflict wasn't over. A new Ostrogoth king, Totila, reclaimed much of Italy. In response, Justinian sent another general, Narses, who defeated Totila in 552. By 554, the Ostrogothic kingdom was gone, and Italy was back under Roman control. Legal reform. The Corpus Juris Civilis. Beyond military triumphs, Justinian left a lasting legacy in law. He ordered the creation of the Corpus Juris Civilis, a codification of centuries of Roman legal thought. Compiled by Juris Tribonian, it included Codex Justinianus, 529, all existing imperial laws. Digest, or Pandex, 533 legal opinions and writings from past Roman jurists. Institutes, 533, a legal textbook for students. Novelli, novels, new laws passed later in Justinian's reign. This legal code became the foundation of civil law systems in Europe and marked the last major Latin legal work in the Eastern Empire, which soon shifted fully to Greek. Theodora and the Nika riots. Justinian's reign wasn't without turmoil. Before becoming emperor, he fell in love with Theodora, an actress with a controversial past. When Justin changed the law, Justinian was allowed to marry her. As empress, Theodora supported church building and social reforms, including homes for former prostitutes. In 532, Nika riots erupted. The city's two main chariot factions, the Blues and Greens, turned violent after some of their members were arrested. At the Hippodrome, a crowd of over 60,000 chanted for the prisoners' release. When Justinian refused, riots engulfed the city. For 5 days, fires raged, and the Hagia Sophia was burnt. Rebuilding Constantinople. After the riots, Justinian rebuilt Constantinople grander than ever. He oversaw the construction of roads, aqueducts, schools, hospitals, and churches, including a new Hagia Sophia, completed in just 5 years. Designed by mathematicians Anthemius of Tralles and Isidore of Miletus. Its massive dome and intricate mosaics made it the largest and most stunning Christian church for nearly a millennium. The Plague of Justinian. In 542, Justinian was struck by the plague, the same bacterium that would later cause the Black Death. Though he survived, the plague of Justinian killed an estimated 1 in 5 people in Constantinople and devastated the empire's economy and military strength. It spread across the Mediterranean and the Arabian Peninsula, marking a turning point in Justinian's reign. Traders from Egypt, Babylon, the Rustlands, Persia, Italy, and beyond flocked to Constantinople, transforming it into a thriving commercial hub. The Byzantines eagerly imported Eastern luxuries, silks, spices, and jewels. They also engaged in the slave trade, often capturing Slavic peoples, a legacy reflected in the word slave. Under Emperor Justinian, 2 Christian monks smuggled silkworms out of China, ending its monopoly on silk. Byzantium began producing silk within the royal palace, gaining immense wealth from European trade. Empress Theodora, regent for Michael III of the Amorian dynasty, finally ended iconoclasm in 843. Yet, new tensions arose in the form of the Photian Schism, sparked by the controversial elevation of the scholar Photius to Patriarch of Constantinople. This clash over church authority and jurisdiction led to a temporary rift with Rome, resolved in 879 at the Fourth Council of Constantinople. Photius later played a crucial role in converting the Slavs and Bulgars to Christianity by commissioning the missionaries Cyril and Methodius. Though Michael III was known as the drunkard, his reign marked the beginning of a cultural revival. Ironically, it was during his rule that Basil, a Macedonian peasant turned wrestler, rose to power. After marrying the emperor's mistress and eliminating rivals, Basil had Michael assassinated and seized the throne in 867, founding the Macedonian dynasty. This dynasty ushered in the Macedonian Renaissance, a new golden age. Emperors like Leo VI and Constantine VII brought internal stability, strengthened small landowners, reformed administration, and restored diplomatic ties with the West. They also promoted classical learning, literature, philosophy, and science. Byzantium became a beacon of preserved Greek knowledge centuries before Western Europe's own revival. 2 centuries after the Great Schism, the Latin rulers of Constantinople faced the same issues that had plagued the Byzantines: internal strife and Bulgarian attacks from the north. Meanwhile, the empire was encircled by 3 Byzantine successor states: the Despotate of Epirus, the Empire of Trebizond, and the Empire of Nicaea. In 1259, a skilled Greek military leader named Michael Palaiologos rose to power in Nicaea. By 1261, he had recaptured Constantinople from the Latins, establishing the Palaiologos dynasty, the final ruling line of the Byzantine Empire. Although the city was restored, the empire itself had shrunk to a fraction of its former size, limited mostly to parts of Greece and Anatolia. This fragile empire was now vulnerable from all directions. To the north, a second Bulgarian empire had emerged. In the east, Turkish principalities, once Mongol vassals, were gaining strength. Among them was a state led by Osman I, who began minting coins bearing his own image, marking the rise of what would become the Ottoman Empire. 2 years later, in 1453, Mehmed led an army of at least 80,000 men to besiege Constantinople. Defending the city were only 10,000 soldiers and 30,000 armed civilians under Emperor Constantine XI, the last Byzantine emperor. The city's legendary walls had withstood sieges for over 1,000 years. But Mehmed had a new weapon, a giant cannon called Basilica, designed by a mysterious Hungarian engineer named Orban. When Orban had first offered his services to Constantine, the emperor couldn't afford him. He then went to Mehmed, claiming he could build a cannon powerful enough to break the walls of Babylon. The result was devastating. A 24-foot-long cannon capable of launching 1,200-pound projectiles. Though it could only fire a few times per day, its psychological and physical impact was enormous. The siege began in April 1453. After 53 days of relentless bombardment, the Theodosian walls were breached. On May 29th, the Ottomans stormed the city. Emperor Constantine XI is said to have led a final charge and was among the first to fall. The city descended into chaos. Looting, destruction of churches, and the mass enslavement of its people followed.